Hey friend, and welcome back. Long time no see. If you are new here, my name is Morgan and you are on my homestead here in Wyoming, and I am so excited to be back at it. It has been a little while since we have last recorded, and you probably saw our announcement. That is because we are so excited to have a baby on the way, but with that came a lot of sickness, and I am finally starting to feel like myself. So I'm excited to get back to recording and showing you everything that has been going on. So today I want to take you through and show you where our garden currently stands. It is August 7th, September 7th. Time has absolutely flown. So I want to show you how our garden has progressed over the summer. When I last saw you, we had just gotten the garden in, things were starting to get bigger. And so we have a lot of progress that has been made this growing season. So I'm really excited to take you along, show you the garden, and then in the next weeks we will have cooking and preserving, hopefully as long as everything continues to be on the up and up. So let's jump over to the garden and we will get a tour going. All right, and welcome to the garden. Now, one thing you are going to notice everywhere in this garden is weeds, and that is because I literally have not touched the garden in months. I've come out and checked on it. Sam's been helping me check on it, but I have not weeded. I have not touched anything in weeks. And so that is such a testament to this weed cloth that I can get plants growing without ever touching a weed. I don't think this garden would have happened. Actually, I know this garden would not have happened without weed cloth. So I am a true believer in weed cloth. And if you want a hands-off garden approach, automatic watering and weed cloth is 100% the way to go. And this has really proven it. Now, normally I would come in and weed throughout the season, so it would be a beautiful, perfect looking garden. You're not going to see that this year, but you are going to see a lot of beautiful vegetables. All of my herbs have gone to seed pretty much. They are done. However, our sage is absolutely thriving. And I know when you think of Wyoming, you think of sage, and holy moly, we have absolutely no lack of sage. So that's been good. Our thyme is also still going strong. Smells so good. I need to get out here and harvest some of that and freeze dry it. I love having just a jar of thyme freeze dried in the pantry for cooking, and same with sage, making like a sage butter ravioli or anything like that is so good. So I'm definitely going to work on getting these preserved. You can see behind me our raspberries. We've not had a great harvest this year, and that is because our grasshoppers just absolutely dominated our raspberries. They are finally starting to really come back to life, and I can see there's a chance we might get maybe a few raspberries, probably not, but maybe. So those have had a really rough year, which makes me sad because that's one of our favorite things that come from a garden. But that's all right. We have something to look forward to next year, hopefully. And then behind me was our corn. I know it looks really, really short, and it is really short. However, despite the height of the corn, we have had the best sweet corn all year. Now, it didn't do that great. I should have planted probably about 5 times this corn. So we did end up supplementing from our neighbors. They have a little farm stand, so we bought a bunch of corn from them. But this is the first year we have ever successfully grown corn, and it was so, so good. I was so proud. So we're going to try to do that again next year because it was delicious. We ate all of the things that we grew, and then we froze and preserved up what our neighbors gave us. But for how short this turned out, again, I'm 6 feet tall, so this is pretty short. It was really, really yummy. What makes this plant so weird is it is growing vertically. So you can see we have plants or squash all the way down there, and then the plant is producing squash all the way up here, up in the air, which I have never had before. I don't know if this is just the variety does that or where we went wrong, but there's no lack of squash, but I've never had them grow vertically like this. So very interesting. We've been feeding these because we have such an abundance to the goats. They absolutely love it. So do the chickens, and we've been enjoying it as well. Here are our potato plants. They did get hit pretty hard with the grasshoppers this year, but they're making quite a rebound or a comeback with the greeneries. So I think they'll produce a good amount of potatoes. They don't look the healthiest because of the grasshoppers, but what matters is what's down in the dirt. So I think they'll be absolutely fine. We're just waiting on these to die back a little bit. They're still super healthy. I think we'll probably have a couple more weeks until that happens, and then we'll be able to harvest these. Now, I did do if you remember, the in-ground potatoes, and we did the bag potatoes, and I'll flip you around and show you the bag potatoes. But so far, just looking at the health of the plant overall, the in-ground looks way better. We have had to supplement the fertilizer in the bagged potatoes. And so they've been a lot more hands-on or more work. But if you didn't have room in ground for them, I think it might work really well. Obviously, I don't know the yield that we'll get from them, but just plant health in total, the in-ground has been significantly better and much, much easier because it's so much more hands-off. And here's a look at what our bag potato plants look like. They've also been hit by the grasshoppers pretty hard. All right, you have to look past all of the weeds, but welcome to our rows of onions. This is the best onion crop we have ever had. We are getting really, really large onions, about this big. I will take you in and show you. And I don't know what we did different. I don't know why they're so good this year. I put them in weed cloth before, and they seem to do considerably better in the weed cloth than they do when they're just in the dirt. But this year they are just so big and healthy, and I have no idea why that is. I don't know if it's the location or the sunlight or just that's just the year that we've had, but I am so thrilled about how our onions are turning out. We didn't get out here to cut down the greens. Normally I would come through and cut the greens down in order to help get bigger bulbs, but we really haven't, I don't think, had an impact on the size of bulb that these plants have been producing. And you can just see the layers on each of the onions, how many layers are already there. So these are some really healthy plants, and I'm so excited because I think this amount of onions, there's 2 onions per plant in most of these. So I think this amount of onions is actually gonna get us through the year for the first time ever. And if you've never had a homegrown onion, they are so much better than store-bought. All right, here is how big these onions are. And for reference, there is my hand. So these are just huge onions. Here is a look at how our sweet peas are doing. This metal trellis has worked really, really nicely for our sweet peas. And then right next to those, we have our snow peas running up the trellis as well. So you can see just how well these are doing. This trellis system is working really, really well. And then right next to them, I have cucumbers. These are just little tiny pickling cucumbers. And we didn't have the best cucumber or pea year, and that is because when we got our tiny little chicks, their run is right next to the garden and they could fit through the fence holes. So they came over and would just peck right here while their mom would stay on the other side of the fence. So they did end up eating our pea plants multiple times along with our cucumbers. So we did have to replant these multiple times. So we have yet to get a harvest off of our cucumber plant. I don't even see really, I see one tiny little gherkin here, but there's really no cucumbers quite yet. So luckily we still have a little bit of time. The snow peas are doing awesome. The sweet peas are doing awesome, but this just isn't a cucumber year for us, and that's okay. Then in this little row, we have our carrots. And surprisingly, they look like they're doing really pretty well. Sam's been going around and weeding around them, but they pretty much got choked out by weeds and have persevered. So I think we're not gonna have a great carrot year, but we will get a few. So this whole row and the row behind me are all of our peppers. So we did bell peppers, jalapeno peppers, poblanos, and Anaheims. I was trying to downsize this year's garden. Clearly I didn't do that, but I did keep my varieties pretty limited. And so it's about time for us to go in and get these Anaheims harvested. We have huge Anaheims on every single plant. Some of them are turning red, which that'll still be super yummy. And we are going to hopefully roast these up together and make some fun recipes. So that's how our Anaheims are looking. Then right behind me, these are our bell peppers. This is the first year that I have actually gotten anything other than green bell peppers, and they are so sweet and so delicious. So I'm really excited about these, but we probably have about 20 bell pepper plants, each with, easily 10 bell peppers on each of them. Then further down, we start getting into our jalapenos, and you can just see these plants are absolutely covered. We're going dove hunting tomorrow, so hopefully we can make some jalapeno poppers out of those. And then right here, these are our Anaheim peppers. These this year turned out to be smaller. We have a lot on each plant, but none of them are overly big, so I'm not really sure why they're littler this year, but we have no shortage of Anaheim peppers either, which we absolutely love to make stuffed peppers out of, and we also like to roast them just for little jars of frozen peppers to have throughout the year. So then right behind us on the pepper row, well, I guess let's finish the pepper row. We have some cabbage. We have okra that has turned into trees. These are so thick. Some of them are literally dried and turned into wood, so we can harvest those seeds. And then next to it, we have our cabbage. This is the first year we have ever successfully grown cabbage. So we're really, really excited about this. We want to make some walleye tacos out of it. And that's Sam's hand for reference. Right here is our tomatillos. Looks like some of them are about ready. Yep, you can tell when a tomatillo is ready because it will basically fall off the plant when you touch it. So I think these were like Rio Grande or something like that. We just have 2 or 3 tomatillo plants, and then we've had a couple of volunteer plants pop up around the garden. So there will be no shortage of tomatillos, which is good because we have so many peppers. We can make a lot of sauces. Here's our ground cherries. They didn't do anything too crazy this year. I'm trying to find an example. This one's not quite right, but it looks a lot like a tomatillo. Then you peel the husk back and it kind of tastes like, how would you describe it? It's like a sweet tomato, pineapple-y tomato almost. I don't know, but they're really good. And then the rest of this row with the trellis system is all of our tomatoes. So we have cherry tomatoes, Romas, and Dr. Witchies. And it looks like we have a good amount of ripe Romas in here that are ready to be harvested. So we'll have to come out and get those harvested. All of our Dr. Witchies or our slicing tomatoes are still pretty green. As you can see, like here, well, we've got one that's orange that might be ready here soon, but I see BLT season is going to be upon us shortly. All right, so that is our September 7th garden tour. As you can see, everything is big. We are in full-on harvest mode, so we're gonna be very busy here for the next few weeks. Thank you so much for coming along with us on this garden tour, and thank you for your patience while we've kind of been missing in action, but hopefully we'll be able to take you along on a lot more preservation and adventures here shortly. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye, friend.